Okay, hi folks, welcome. It's Rebecca, and I'm here to teach you a quick and dirty tutorial on adding a lightsaber effect to the photo. Now, what we need to do in Photoshop itself is simple enough, but of course, some pains were taken in the photo to get things right. So, if we just look at some of the base elements in the picture itself. One of the things I had to actually do was add a whole bunch of image area on the right. When I took the photo, I did take pains to add some green lighting in the back to because I knew that what color I wanted the lightsaber to be itself. But I didn't actually have any room for the lightsaber. So I had to add a whole bunch of extra stuff on the side. And then my floor got a little funky, so I added a separate layer here to just kind of fill in some of these repeating patterns. And then I added this layer here called green brush strokes. All that really is doing is I just painted in some green on a separate layer. Okay, it's just, again, trying to get the same feel. I painted on my subject over here, on the floor and on the background. And I set the blend mode to color dodge. Opacity, set that at 60%. Okay, so basically anywhere in the image that I thought would receive some green glow, I just used a large soft brush for that. And then I added, as just a sort of a top finishing element, this color lookup table. So color lookup tables are used largely in the film industry to give a universal color treatment to different shots in a movie or a show or something to kind of give a unifying look. So if I turn it on, you can kind of see I chose an option in my properties here called tension green. And that just kind of gives just this extra little sci-fi touch. So adds green and also some of the shadows a little bit, some of the highlights. So, but why are we here? We're here to add a lightsaber effect. So I'm going to select the floor cloning layer because I want my effect sort of sandwiched closer to the base. I'm going to go to the bottom of my layers palette, click the new empty layer, rename that to saber effect. Okay. Now what we're going to do is use our Polygonal Lasso tool to kind of just draw a rectangle. Okay, I'm going to start at the base of the lightsaber. I'm going to click once over here. I'm going to try and follow the angle of the lightsaber. Drag up a little bit with another click. Come again to the base of the lightsaber and start to close off my selection. There we go. So I got some merging ends. Now, the edge on this is too hard for the effect of sort of a glowing weapon. So I'm going to go to my select menu and feather this beyond what may have already been there. So select menu, modify. Now I'm going to go to feather. Now because I've done a dry run of this, I already knew the value I wanted, which is 20 pixels. You may have a different number in there. You might have 5 or 10 or something. 20 is the number we need to follow along with this photo. And we're going to click on OK. Alrighty. Okay, so you can notice the marching ants have just a bit of like a rounded look to the outline over here. So that's the feathering in effect. And we want to, on the saber effect layer, we're going to fill that with white. There's a bunch of different ways to fill our layers. But I'm going to go edit, fill. And this brings up a fill dialog box. Again, because I did this before, white was the last thing I selected, but you might have foreground color, background color, or something. White is our safest, so let's choose white and click OK. And then we're almost there. So we've got a white glowing lightsaber, so that won't do. And we've got our marching ants, which we can dismiss now. So on a Mac, you would do Command D. On a PC, you would do Control D. Or you could go to your select menu and choose deselect as well. But note the shortcut over here. We use this all the time. Click. All right, good. So marching ants have disappeared. You might want to use the move tool and then maybe your arrow keys on your keyboard just to push this up, just to the little center. Okay, cool. So we're almost done. So we need to add a special effect. Now this is not something we normally do as photographers. This is usually reserved for graphic designers. But you click this little FX tab at the bottom of your layers palette, and we're going to choose outer glow. And as has been true with some of the other settings, you might have different options pre-selected. So if you don't have a kind of a lime green effect, you could click and hold in here to bring the color picker. You might want to click somewhere in the photo and then you'll get a sample of a color, or just choose something kind of bright and hot here towards the top. Okay, your blend mode is normal, we're good. Lighten or screen dodge, any of these brightening effects here are also good. What you don't want is darken or multiply, which is almost the same. So, but normal, let's just stick with that. And then we have here the elements and the quality. So depending on if you want your lightsaber to be a little tighter, you could increase the spread. We don't want that. You want it a little tighter, you could decrease the size here. So we were at 107, and now I've dragged it down to 38, but I'm going to leave it at 100 or so. And I'm going to have the spread at 0. So spread kind of fills in the glow a little bit, so just make it bigger. So we don't really want that. I'm going to leave the range at 50% and the jitter at 0. Again, not totally sure what your numbers would necessarily be. All right, and we will just click OK. Excellent. Okay, and then there we have our effect. So I said other things go overall into building the photo, and there was some planning involved. But, the main reason for taking the photo was to make it look like an actual lightsaber was somehow being used. And that was just achieved simply with the Polygonal Lasso tool and a little special effect, and then having the right color. So hope that was illuminating, literally and figuratively. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.